What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one I want to break down what's going on with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I want to break down what's happening to the overall market as we have a very important AI that made a prediction for NIO. And also we have some new technicals and developments that came out that are going to be very important for NIO going into tomorrow. But before I break anything down about all this information, before I talk about the big data coming out for tomorrow, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm personally not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon. It ends in just about 4 hours, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market. So looking at NIO was up 0.59% for the day on for today. And the question is, can this thing continue pushing up higher, or is this thing just going to remain very, very flat? Well, the way we start out for tomorrow is going to depend on some big data. And then after that, the market could end up playing a big role in dictating how NIO moves. So as far as the whole market goes, we have some GDP numbers coming out in the morning. The GDP growth rate quarter over quarter is coming out, not to mention the GDP price index. And we also have initial jobless claims. All this data is coming out 1 hour before the market opens. So we have some big data coming out. If the GDP numbers are way too high for the growth rate year over year or quarter over quarter, that could be good for the markets. If they're way too low, it's not going to be good either. So we want it to be like very close to what we're expecting at 2.1%. So you can actually see it like right here at the very top. And right here, we have the GDP price index. We want this to be a little bit lower than what we're expecting. We don't want them to be way too hot. So let's just hope it's very close to what the expectations are. Initial jobless claims is also going to be important. So we're expecting between 215 and 205,000. Let's see what that ends up being. And besides that, we have some Fed speakers coming out for tomorrow, and we have more data coming out involving pending home sales. So the biggest pieces of data are going to be coming out an hour before the market opens. We'll see what happens with the numbers. That's going to affect how the market moves. On top of this, we have some more Fed speakers. Then we have Jerome Powell speaking, but he's going to be speaking after the market closes. So he could actually affect how the market opens on Friday, not to mention PCE. But we'll have to wait and see what Powell says for Thursday. It could just be a nothing burger anyways. That's pretty much it. That's going to affect how the market ends up moving. As far as NIO goes, on September 26th, a new AI that has come out. This is basically from, I believe it's this very, very new AI that came out from Codex. So CoinCodeX came out with this AI, and it projected NIO is going to be at 8.25 on October 1st, suggesting some downside after their deliveries come out, possibly. So deliveries are coming out soon. I don't know if it's going to be directly on October 1st or the 2nd. But once deliveries come out, that could affect how NIO moves. So we're going to be waiting for that to see if that causes any big moves, and that's going to be very telling. And right here, the AI also said that NIO is going to retreat to 10.6 1 month from, and maybe more than that. And they have a $34 1-year forecast. Now, it's impossible to be very accurate for a 1-year forecast, but we'll see, because nonetheless, I'm still bullish. I just can't predict exactly where NIO will be by then. NIO also announced that the NIO phone is launched in China. The flagship smartphone with NIO signature design, DNA, and born for NIO users is once again very good for their connectivity, very good for their growth, and it's very awesome for investors. NIO's volume was 23 million, so very flat volume, not really doing anything too crazy. And last but not least, Deutsche Bank is saying you should buy NIO. Price-price ratio is flat, and we also have even more data dropping tomorrow, so it's going to affect all of this differently. And finally, there's not a whole lot of shorting going on. So now let's break down what's happening to NIO. I just wanted to mention that NIO is currently trying to bounce a little bit off this 8.3 area, but it still is quite flat overall. Now, what's good about NIO is we have a potential inverse head and shoulders like pattern that's developing on the chart, which could help this thing make an attempt to get an even better bounce. Because when you zoom out of the chart, this is what it's kind of like looking like. Besides this drop to 7.5, with this inverse head and shoulders, I could see NIO potentially trying to uptrend a little bit. I don't know if it's going to be a perfect inverse head and shoulders play, but there's some potential for this bullish wedge to play out. And NIO is technically making higher highs, so I could see NIO try to break out soon. And it all depends on the market, of course, as we have the GDP numbers. But right now on SPY, okay, we have a bullish divergence that has developed as SPY is continuing to decline. And this thing is due for a bounce, and there's a chance we may finally get the bounce after hitting 4.22. So we're just going to be watching this just to be safe. This could be the moment the market's getting ready for a bounce. We could decline and then form like an inverse head and shoulders after the GDP numbers came out. If we get above 427.5 or the 20 EMA, there's a good chance the market's going to be flying towards 430 by Friday. There's a real possibility of that, and that could have a big effect on NIO. As far as Tesla goes, we were very bearish during this drop. You can see Tesla went from about 245 in the morning all the way down to 234. We were talking about this. Then it started to bounce a bit, but it's still close kind of red. And now the question is, can Tesla try to get back above 244? If we manage to do so, there is potential for it to retest 250 soon. There is potential, but we have to hold above 244 first. Now, the market could dictate that depending on different factors. It's a real possibility. We're going to be watching to see if that ends up being the case. Now, to add on to this, Aapl has more life. This thing is trying to hold 169. It managed to close above 170, which is a good sign. If we break the 5 EMA and get above 170.5, we could pump towards 172. There is some bullish momentum that's possible. On the QQQ, okay, we also have a potential bullish divergence that's developed in the chart. This thing could be getting ready for a bounce and try to get closer to 360. But first, we want to see it break above 356 and hold it. Then that's going to give it more potential. For Nvda, we formed this bullish wedge. We were looking kind of weak in the morning, but then we ended up getting a bounce. This could be forming a very, very nice formation right here for a bounce and a push towards 435 plus. But we want to see it hold for 30 first, as we have some tight resistance there. So we're going to be watching to see if that ends up being the case. There is still some potential in my opinion. So anyways, now I just want to talk about NIO. How could NIO be affected with all of these potential stocks? Well, NIO is getting tighter and tighter, and we're forming a bullish wedge right here. So we can actually draw this out with maybe not our trend line. Actually, I think I could use a trend line. Let me just double check this. But I think that this could be a good sign for NIO because when you look at the chart, we have this potential wedge forming right here. And I think that NIO may maintain this for a little longer than eventually try to break out and start pushing towards 8.8 plus. That's at least the direction I'm leaning in. And I think that the overall market, if we do end up getting some kind of bounce, this could help NIO quite a bit and help NIO make an attempt to push even higher. So I think that there's a real possibility of that. I think there's a real possibility of NIO playing out and some bullish momentum for it, leading to some kind of bounce. So I'm leaning in that direction. With that said, guys, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. Let's see if NIO could get above that level. If NIO ends up selling off, you're going to be watching support at 8.2. And below that, we have 7.78. If that fails us, then it's going to start declining towards 7.5. But I'm leaning more in the direction of NIO possibly bouncing soon, maybe maintaining the wedge, getting very tight, and eventually trying to approach $9. For now, just watch the GDP numbers, see how they look, see how the data looks for tomorrow, and that's going to be very telling for NIO and the whole market. All right, so hopefully this video was helpful. I thank you all so much for listening. Have an absolutely incredible day, and peace out.